what's poppin' everyone, it's your boy Aphiwe Ngwenya. I'm back again for another bang of videos. So today I want us to look at GER30, US30, Nasdaq, and some GBPJPY. So I just want us to cut straight into it. I want to wrap this video up in about 15-20 minutes. So yeah guys, let's just get to it. Yeah, so the first thing that I would like to do is first look at my GER30, as you guys can see. And one of the things that I like doing is I like to check and see when it is that I'm trading. And since we are trading within the weekend, one of the things that I like to do is start on the weekly frame so that I get to see exactly what structure has been given me, right? So on GER30, one of the things that I do notice is that structure has been moving in a downwards trend, where we have a higher high and our lower low. Then we have our lower high and a lower low, a lower high. See, so we have 3 consecutive lower highs, which means that structure does indeed want to shoot ways towards the downside. So now the question is, how far down is structure willing to go? So one of the things that I would do is pick out structure somewhere around here. So I can say structure wants to shoot somewhere down towards this red line. But now in order for us to be certain of such a move, we just gotta be able to trade things as they go along. So now that we have this type of structure happening on the weekly frame, one of the things that I like to do is jump straight towards the daily frame and then see what structure is actually given within. Alright, cool. So let's just remove this real quickly. Alright, perfect. Okay, so one of the things that we did see is this particular level of structure happening right over here. Right, the structure has been moving in consecutiveness, right? And then we have this minor important level happening right over here. Now what does this mean? It means that structure now has reached an important level and is taking a dip towards the downside, right? So structure is now looking to take a dip towards the downside, but the question that we ask ourselves is, how far down is structure willing to go? So one of the things that I would do is I'll try catering for as many lows. I'll try catering for as many current important lows. So we have this important low over here, and then we also have this important low over here. So which means that structure has a two-way remittance, which means that structure is looking at these two particular spots, and if structure chooses to react accordingly in some of these positions here, then you would know exactly what structure is doing, because structure can give us a position like so, where it can break below here, find support at this particular level all the way towards the downside. That's generally what it is that we're hoping for structure to reach our 90% rule. But until that actually happens, we're just going to have to wait at structure and trade exactly what it is that we see. So let's have a look at this. We have structure that has been shooting upwards for the past couple of days, right? And then if you look at structure from this particular position here, you see that it is forming a rising wedge. One thing that we know about rising wedges is that they believe to give us a sense of falling prices, where structures will indeed fall towards the downside. So that's exactly what it is that we have here. Alright, so we have structure giving us a rising wedge, and rising wedge is the level of falling prices, and that's exactly what it is that we're experiencing right now, a significant fall in prices. Okay, cool. So let's just fix this up to cater for as many touches as possible. Alright, so we look quite neat somewhere around here. Okay, cool. So let's just try catering for as many touches as possible. We have an important level over here, and then we have an important level over there. Okay, cool. So what is structure telling us right now is that structure is that we are shooting down. Yes, we get that. But now the question is, how far down are we willing to go? So one of the things that I will do is I'll try connecting my highs. I'll try connecting my highs to get like a probable scenario for me, as in like what structure is actually going to do. And one of the things that I do realize that structure has been moving quite close towards my trend line, which means that it is currently looking for strong remaining pushes towards the downside. One of the things that I also do notice is that structure gave us a low. It gave us this particular low right over here. So which means for me that structure might want to push all the way towards this level here, indicated here, and then push towards the downside. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to be looking for a particular retest in this particular trade, and once I have that, then I can take this position towards the downside a lot more. So let's just dive a bit deeper down towards the 60-minute frame so I can get this a little bit more clearly. Right, let's get this one in. Awesome. So we have structure looking like this. And one of the things that we do notice is that structure did have an impulse, a correction. We're currently having an impulse right over here. But now, in order for us to know exactly where structure is willing to go, we're going to have to wait for a significant retest at this particular level. And if structure does serve us correctly, we will be taking a potential seller's position all the way towards the downside. So that's my view on German 30. That's how I think German 30 is going to be reacting for this next week. And from then onwards, it would be a lot more easier for us to be able to trade this particular movement, this particular formation. Because if you have to put a line over here, one thing that you do realize that structure has been moving in structure has been respecting this particular level right over here, where we had this important level here. We broke out, we came in, we retested this particular level, and then now we're coming in possibly to retest once more, only for us to reject and push towards the downside. So that's German 30 basically. And then if we just jump a bit straighter into Nasdaq, with Nasdaq, remember we start on the weekly frame. Alright, start on the weekly frame. Once we're on the weekly frame, just try fixing it down, fix the structure down. Understand what structure has been giving us, and once we see that, then it will be easier for us to know what it is that we should be doing later on. Right, so we have this important level happening right over here. Right, after we had that important level, one of the things that we do notice is structure has been moving in such particular positions right over there. Right, so that's exactly what it is that we're seeing right now. We're seeing a potential movement of lower highs and lower lows. So I'm going to move straight towards my daily frame. Then we're going to fix it accordingly. We're going to fix this accordingly. Alright guys, so here's exactly what it is. So I believe that structure wants to come in and test this significant level here. So one of the ways in order for me to believe that is if I create a beautiful trending structure. Right, so one of the things that I know about trending structures is that if structure fails to react a certain way at this particular level, then I would be looking for a potential move towards the downside or a potential move towards the upside if we do get a rejection of phase happening at that particular leg over there. So one thing I'm going to do is cater for my lower low, and then I'm going to cater for my important level, which is somewhere around here. And one of the things that we do realize that structure gives us a potential double top structure here. One touch, two, and then we had our third touch, which gave us an evening star. And one thing that we know about evening stars is that it gives us a potential move towards the downside that structure is willing to shoot negatively. Right. Okay, cool. So let us dive a bit more deeper towards this one and move straight towards the 4-hour. Now, here we are on the 4-hour. The structure seems to look a little bit more vicarious, looks a little bit more clean and there. So what happens here is that we just wait for what structure is giving us over here. We have an important leg. So we have an important leg. We have an important leg happening right over here. And one thing we're going to do is just cater for this particular level over here. Bam. So what do we notice here? Here we notice that structure has been giving us two types of touches. We have touch 1, touch 2, and then now we're going to have to wait for our third potential touch somewhere around here, and then we're going to take a seller's position towards the downside. That is if we're looking at it from a longer time frame. So that's exactly what it is that we're looking at when we look at Nasdaq. So Nasdaq, it's all about waiting and seeing the perfect level structure that we're going to get. And one thing for me is I'm just going to wait for a touch on my trend line to give me a seller's confirmation that with Nasdaq we are potentially shooting down a lot more. So I don't have to dive a bit more deeper into Nasdaq. Like, structure is just giving us textbook movements. This is all textbook movements, and you know how it is with textbook movements, guys. It's actually very easy. We see structure here right now. Structure is, see, we're reaching an important level. It wants to push up, and then it's going to want to push down later on. So let's dive down towards US30. Start on the weekly frame. Remember what happens on the weekly frame is that we pull out our important highs and our important lows, where we have our low and then we have our high. Now what do? Dive straight towards a smaller frame, and then one thing that we do realize is that structure is indeed willing to shoot towards the smaller legs, right? So we have our 3 touches here, touches 1, 2, and 3. And then over here we also have touches 1, 2, and 3. So what does the structure tell us about this particular movement? That US30 doesn't want to shoot down on all fours. So let's just dive straight towards the 4 hour. I'm just going to start with the 4 hours, guys, because every single thing just looks very, very easy. It looks easy, 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 easy. Right, so that's exactly what's happening here. We're just going to have to wait and see how structure reacts at this particular leg. And if I have to do this again, I will. See, we have to put this one nice over here and then see how structure reacts at this particular level for us to take a position towards the downside, because that's exactly what it is I'm looking for, to sell this position towards the downside. Right, so let's just jump straight towards GBPJPY. GBPJPY on the weekly frame, dive in, reset the charts just a little bit. No, perfect. Right, so one thing that we do realize, the structure has been giving us a lot of confluence happening right over here, which means that now we're just going to have to wait and see what is actually going to happen. It's not clear, so we dive straight towards the daily frame. Now in the daily frame, one of the things that I like to do is pull out my trend. Always with the trend, guys. And one of the things that I do realize, that structure has been giving us important legs over here. So structure has been giving us like a double top formational structure over there, which tells me that chances are that we're going to shoot down a lot more quicker. Right, so let me just tag this one up like so. Right, cool. So then I dive straight towards my 4 hour. 4 hour to get a cleaner positional move. Alright, cool. So here's what we have. 4 hours, we have our touches 1, 2, and 3, which tell me that structure doesn't indeed want to shoot down. But now the question is, what do we have here? Here we have like a flag pattern, like a potential flag pattern. So when we have a flag pattern that looks a little bit like this, we're just going to have to wait and see how structure reacts at this particular level. The structure might indeed want to give us a potential push towards the upside. Remember, guys, with flag patterns, it's a continuation moving structure, so which means the structure might just want to find support and create a new trend and give us a new higher high. So now, for me, I just have to wait and see how structure is going to react at this particular level. But for me, I'm just going to take this as a potential buyer's movement towards the upside. Have a nice, beautiful take profit right over there at 90% rule. And from then onwards, I'd see that structure has been giving well. So from then onwards, guys, I'll see you later. Cheers.